Well, hello and welcome to the channel. This video is a little bit different. It's a little bit more fast paced than the ones I've done previously. Why is it faster pace? Well, I go to Alton Park for a track day. Now, I've been to track days before, but I've never been to one in the middle of a storm. In fact, we're on an amber weather warning. The previous night I was checking the app on the phone, just wondering whether it'd actually still be on. It was, so I decided to go. I figured if drivers are going to be racing around a racetrack, the least I could do is do a little vlog and take some images. I must warn you, at times the sound isn't great because I was being battered from all sorts of sides with the wind and the rain, but that seems to be becoming the norm for my videos recently. So as always, get a coffee, sit back, relax, let me do the work and enjoy. Well, as you can probably tell by the weather, it's another wild, windy, horrible, wet, damp day. One day I'm going to do one of these vlogs and it's going to be quite nice. Until then, so we're actually on the very top of a weather warning at the moment. I think another couple of miles north and we'd actually be out of it. Whether the weather would actually improve further up, I'm not sure, but yeah, we're actually in a weather warning. But that really doesn't matter, it hasn't stopped spirits here. Where am I? Alton Park. Come and join me today as I've come to Alton Park to do a track day. Well, I'm not going to race around, certainly not in the old dad wagon, but I'm going to take some images of the track day that's here today. So the great thing about being here, because it's a circuit, you kind of park in the centre, so you've got all the land all the way around to sort of explore. And you're not far away from the circuit. So if the gear does get wet, come back to the car, dry it off, it's not such an issue. So this is the first time here with the D850. I've come previously with the D810, but I mainly shoot on the D7200 here. Because I've got a 70-200 lens, with the crop factor, it gives me that extra zoom. But I want to see what the D850 is like today. Whilst I've been talking, we've got the red lights flashing and everyone's sort of gone in, so I'm not sure if there's been an incident somewhere. Yeah, obviously with the way the track is, it's extremely wet, so I'm going to take this opportunity to head towards Druids Bend, Druids Corner, into the forest, which is just a little bit to my right there. And yeah, just sort of get set up and see what we can get, really. Okay, let's go. I absolutely love this part of the track. It's right on a really good bend, and yeah, it's a good place to come. If you ever come to Alton Park, I always recommend Druids. Yeah, you can always get some decent shots around this area. As I've walked through, I can just hear the car starting off again. Yeah, it's been quiet for about 5 minutes, but yeah, just walking through now, get set up, but yeah, it sounds as if everything's back on. So we've had some really interesting light on the way up, as you've probably seen on the intro of the video, but it's gone really cloudy now. Now, like any photography, light matters, but what I was after today, with it being rainy and quite horrible, is road spray from the cars. So getting quite a few shots of the sort of dark and moody shots with the road spray kicking up at the back of the cars. I always think that looks quite good on images. Yeah, so I've had a bit of movement to the images. So yeah, we'll see what we can get today. Hopes are high. I've got a full memory card, plenty of batteries, and the difference between doing landscape photography and sort of motorsport photography is where I'll probably take about 50-60 shots when I'm out doing landscape. Here I'll be cracking the 2000s. Right, we're going to set up and not far away now, and yeah, just sort of see what action we can get. Considering we're in an amber weather warning, it's not that bad here. Saying that, I can just see some tree damage here. They've obviously had something overnight, maybe. So I've got red lights again, obviously something that's happened. You can tell by the way the track is, it's extremely slippy. Some of the cars coming through are just sort of drifting all over the place, and yeah, I'm trying to get those on camera, but yeah, failing miserably. So the settings I'm using today are around about 100th of a second down to about 60th. Now I find that on this bend, on Druids bend, 60th of a second is just about okay. You start getting a little bit of motion blur from the cars, and trying to get those shots sort of super sharp is a bit of a nightmare. So around about 100th of a second is probably what I recommend. I'm using around about f5 to try and get a bit of blur in the background as well. An ISO between 125 and up to 200, because we've got quite a bit of a dark, gloomy day today. So yeah, I want to get the shutter speed just right, so I get the wheels appear blurred and the background appears blurred as well. But you've got to be careful, because it's very, very difficult to make for the car to just appear sort of fuzzy. What I tend to do as well is focus on the door mirrors. So when the car's coming through, I'll get my my little focus point onto the door mirrors, and that's kind of where I track through. As I'm panning through with the camera, I'm sort of tracking each of the cars on the door mirrors. That seems to be the best point, and it seems to be the easiest point for the camera to focus on as well, because you've got quite a bit of contrast between the colour of the door mirrors and the glass behind it. So it seems to work for me. Right, I'm going to head back to the car for a little bit and dry the gear off. It's getting a little bit too wet now. Yeah, nip to the toilet, get something to eat, and yeah, hopefully by the time I return, head off to another side of the location. Now, I want to go into the Grandstands, which is at the far end of this straight, just by Druids, because you can get some shots of the cars coming towards you, and there's also quite a sharp bend on there. Sorry, it's pretty loud here. There's a sharp bend in front of it as well. So what I want to try and do is get a few of the shots with the road spray in the background and just get a bit of drama. Now the shots I've been doing at the moment are all sort of side on. So yeah, it'd be interesting to get some cars as they're coming towards me, and yeah, sort of see what they turn out like. Now looking at them in the back of camera, 60th of a second is a bit of a risk. You do get the massive blur of the wheels and the background, but because a lot of them have got signage, livery on the side of these vehicles, that's not looking as sharp as it should be. So I sort of kept it safe, and I've gone to about 100th of a second up to 125, and that seems to be giving me just enough motion blur. Yeah, just enough motion blur to obviously give a bit of sense of movement in the images. God, these are going crazy around here. A bit of sense of movement in the images, but also yeah, get the cars super sharp as well, and that's what it's all about. It's all about making sure the cars are sharp. So yeah, you've got to work these settings out. Now because it's a bit of a glum day, as I said, I've raised the ISO to about ISO 200, just to give me a bit more light, a bit more yeah, flexibility with the settings. So yeah, it's just a case of sort of settling into it. And what I recommend you do as well is sort of come and sort of set your settings quite high. Just get a feel for sort of tracking. If you've not done this sort of photography before, just get a feel of the tracking. Make sure you feel comfortable as you sort of pan the vehicles, and just make sure that you sort of follow the vehicles as closely as you can whilst taking the images. It's quite easy when you press the trigger on the camera as well to sort of move the camera and sort of judge the camera up and down. I don't know why I'm moving this. This is obviously not a camera, this is my coffee. But yeah, it's quite tricky, but fun. Another tip as well, make sure you've got enough memory card space. I've taken about 500 images from that location. You just sort of go wild, and yeah, it's constant. The amount of cars are going by are constant, and you're sort of taking 3, 4, 5 images of each of the vehicles as they go by. So it soon ramps up. Card space, don't come with 64 gig or 32 or anything like that. Make sure you've got 128 as a minimum. Yeah, you'll use it quickly, and certainly on the D850 you'll use it a lot quicker. Oh gosh, right, so I'm gonna have a quick break, get everything dry again, and go and get something to eat, have a wee, and yeah, rejoin it a little bit. So yeah, I know it's wet and I know it's miserable out there, but yeah, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. To be honest, I thought it was going to be cancelled with the high wind warning and things like that, but yeah, it doesn't appear to have affected the circuit at all, so it's good. And obviously with the rain, you get the road spray. I keep going on about the road spray like it's some amazing thing, but I think it just really adds to a lot of drama in the image. So yeah, it's good. So yeah, time to dry the gear off. I'm going to get the camera out, put it by the heater, and yeah, get ready for round 2, I guess. Oh god. For those of you watching that, I've just stalled after skipping on the grass and trying to get the car off the grass here. It's extremely muddy and slippy, as you can imagine. Oh dear. Just well, this isn't a how to drive vlog, isn't it? So I've gone to get something to eat, quick coffee, and yeah, I've headed back out. The only problem is, as soon as I've parked up, hailstone actually started to pelt the car, so I'm not going out of this. Yeah, where I'm going to next is just sort of behind you guys, up over the bridge, and yeah, quite a bit away from the car. So with it raining heavily, you're on a grandstand, there's no cover over it, so you are facing the elements. But I'm just going to wait for this this sort of bad batch of rain to head across, and then we'll yeah, we'll venture out again. I just want a day. I just want a day where it's actually nice weather and oh, roll on spring. Roll on the spring. could actually tell a few Skoda jokes right now, but as the Skoda Yeti has just been taken off the track, I've got to say that car has been an absolute monster. It's only been out a few times, and I think there's been a bit of an issue with the rear exhaust. It's been hitting the ground a bit, so whether he's done some damage with that, I'm not sure. Blimey. But yeah, he's just been pushed off the track now, but that thing is not standard. I don't care what anyone says, it's been popping and banging as it's been going along, and yeah, absolutely, it's got to be an RS, probably an RS3 engine in it, or a Golf R engine or something. It's certainly not standard, but yeah, he's obviously blown something massively, and yeah, it looks as if he's off the track now, so hopefully he'll get started again, and yeah, we'll see what we can get from this position. But yeah, even though the weather conditions are absolutely horrendous, it's been fantastic. I always love coming to Oulton Park. It's always great coming to any racetrack really. It's always great just coming, even if you're not actually taking part and doing a track day. It's always good to come and do some photography, and yeah, just sort of get something a little bit different than normal landscape images. So the principles are still the same. You've still got to work with the light, you've still got to make sure your shutter speed is right, you've still got to work compositions, things like that, but yeah, it's just a lot faster going. I'm just going to have a look now. Yeah, I've taken the best part of, what, just over 1,000 images now throughout this morning, so I'm probably going to double that by the time I leave if anything else kicks off now, but it's mental. It's absolutely great, and yeah, if you've ever wondered about doing it, just get out here and do it, and yeah, you'll have a good day's fun, that's for sure, even in weather conditions like this. Well, the weather conditions have worsened again. We've just had a bit of an incident. I think one of the cars just broken down. It's just pulled over, so everything's gone on to yeah, everything's pulled into pit. But the weather conditions are getting absolutely worse. Everything's starting to get absolutely soaked. It's fine for a minute, and then all of a sudden, just a massive belt of rain and wind. The wind has started to pick up. It's in massive gusts, and yeah, it's probably like 40-50 mile an hour winds coming right the way down the track. So yeah, it's proving a little bit difficult. All the gear's starting to get a little bit wet now. So I'm debating how long I'm going to stay. I want to get a couple of shots from this grandstand area now, and as I said about the wind, yeah, I want to get a little bit of shots from this grandstand area, and then I'm probably going to call it a day. Yeah, it's proving a little bit too difficult today. Obviously, when you come out in an amber weather warning, yeah, you've got to expect the worst, and yeah, I'm properly expecting the worst, and I think I'm getting it as well. So yeah, I'm going to see what happens from here. And yeah, sort of play it by ear really, but yeah, if I don't speak to you soon, if I don't speak from here, I'll speak to you from home, and I'll do the outro and stuff from there. Yeah, I'll let you know how it's gone on. See you in a bit. So the weather got the better of me. Everything was being drenched, everything started to fail, and yeah, it was just a case of wiping the gear down constantly. All my cloths were wet and wringing out by the time I'd finished. So yeah, I decided to call it a day, return home, get a cup of tea, shower, and a bit of a relax. I really wanted to take some images of the pits that day, sort of get around the cars whilst they're in the garages. But unsurprisingly, all the garage doors were down, everybody was sheltering from the storm. It was just absolutely horrendous. Plus, with the other lenses I have, the hoods aren't as deep as it is on the 7200. So as soon as I started taking the images on the other lenses, rain spots will start to appear, so it's just a no-win. So it's time to call it a day. As a photographer, I think it's really important to know when enough is enough and when it's time to quit. That was one of those times. The drive home diverted me all over the place because I know there's trees coming down, there's flooding. Yeah, it was a bit of a nightmare, so I think I made the right call. Let me know in the comments if you've actually been to a track day, actually participated in a track day by, driving, or just done some images. It'd be great to hear. So as the storm continues to pass, it's still windy and rainy outside, it's time to finish this video. I hope you enjoyed the content, something a little bit different. I hope to get out there again soon, but possibly not in a storm. So if you like this video, give me the thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. It'd be absolutely great to have you on board of the channel. Leave a note in the comments, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'm not sure when the next video is going to be because I'm actually on holiday next week. When I say I'm on holiday, I'm actually decorating, so it's going to be quite difficult to get out, but I'll try and get out somewhere and do something. But thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you as soon as I can get out. Bye bye now.